What's good?
Wait. Did you just speak German?
No, I said what's good. That's English.
Oh, bro, there's a saying in German, it's like, was geht? And it means like, what's up?
Oh, for real?
Yeah, and I thought you were fluent in German or something.
That will make me trilingual.
Trilingual, which languages do you speak?
I speak English and Chinese.
Can you, in brief terms, explain to me? There's different versions of Chinese, right?
Okay, so there's two types, right? There's Mandarin and then there's Cantonese. Basically, right, Mandarin is like the dominated Chinese because like most people speak Mandarin. And Cantonese is like one of the biggest dialects, I guess. Because like there are many different dialects in China as well. There's like probably like 100 dialects. And Cantonese is like one of the biggest ones.
Okay, that's interesting. Do people who speak Mandarin, who grow up speaking Mandarin, do they understand Cantonese and vice versa?
Okay, because I grew up, speaking Mandarin, right? When I was a kid, we watched a lot of movies in Cantonese. You don't really understand them. I mean, you kind of do, but you don't really know Cantonese unless you're from the area, unless you learn.
Sure, because I've recently been to India. They have lots of languages as well. For example, Hindi, like the predominantly spoken language. And then in the south, for example, you have Tamil, which uses a completely different script and has nothing to do with Hindi.
Yeah, that happens a lot in like big countries like China, India, because it's so freaking big and there's different culture, there's different backgrounds and different languages. But in the perspective of the entire world, I think English is kind of becoming like the official. Everybody is just communicating in English. Doesn't matter where you're from.
Sure. I mean, the US and the British people have been everywhere. So the influence is...
Huge influence.
I think it's a very good concept because language unites, right? If you can speak to someone from Vietnam in English and you can speak to someone from Chile or from Brazil in English, you have a common base somehow, right?
It's also like the story of Babylon Tower. If they share the same language, they're gonna reach the sky, but they failed because of the languages. So if all human beings, we can speak one common language, we would just kind of be united. But at the same time, culture lives within the language. They go hand to hand. Let's imagine every single Germans, they stop speaking German and they all speak in English. You guys are losing that culture as well, right? You kind of being assimilated. So at the same time, you're kind of losing your roots.
100%, yeah. I don't know how much you know about Germany. We don't have that much of culture. We don't have like festivities which are overarching like the whole country, for example. Mostly, for example, holidays, like national holidays, they are all Christian holidays, mostly like 80% or whatever. But no one really goes to church anymore. At least my generation, I don't have a single friend who's religious. No one. And even if they are religious or spiritual, they don't go to a church anymore.
I think in Germany, there's more Islam culture than Christian culture in Germany.
No? Not yet. I mean, it will get there because if we just look at birth rates, simple math. But so far, it's not Islam dominated or anything. You can't see, for example, big mosques everywhere. But we have churches everywhere.
But like, I feel like for the younger generation, like Christianity is like not really that big part of their lives anymore.
Not at all. I'm Christian on paper, but that's it.
That's the same for the US as well.
I feel that's my perception of like social media gives me the perception that people in the US are getting more religious. I don't know, like especially younger people. For example, on Instagram or somewhere. You look into their biography so many times like God first, for example, or a random Bible first verse or quotes from the Bible, something like this.
They're just trying to look cool. So they put like, the Christian sign.
Yeah, true.
Because like people nowadays, they kind of losing personalities. So they just trying to cling into something to be like, oh, I'm a vegan, I'm a feminist, I'm a Christian. They're just putting like those tags on them because they're lacking personality.
They want to belong to something and stand for something because they don't have something else really to stand for, something that defines themselves.
Imagine the people who put like vegan into their bio. Like for real, that's your entire personality. Just you don't eat meat. Like that's what you belong to. That's your entire life's work. That's how you introduce yourself. I don't eat meat. You know what I'm saying?
I've never seen it from that perspective, but that's funny.
So you say you were like an engineer?
Yeah, I study automotive engineering.
Oh, and you're from Germany.
Makes sense, right?
When did you graduate?
I graduated my bachelor's like 9 months or so ago.
You could come to China and work for BYD, Chinese car company.
Oh yes, they have the biggest foreign EV share in Germany, I think. They are literally great competition for our German manufacturers, especially given the prices, I think. You know the Golf, like the standard German VW car?
Yeah, Volkswagen.
The name standing for the German people, like it's accessible for German people. But the smallest engine size costs $30,000-$40,000. Well, who can afford that? That's like the cheapest model they offer in a decent size, which isn't like a micro car. If you want to buy a new car in China, like let's say a new EV, nothing fancy, how much do you need to spend in dollars?
10K.
For a new electric vehicle, which isn't shit.
Oh, which isn't shit, then like 15K.
15K.
Pretty solid one for sure.
Well, that's the biggest difference to China then, because our cars are getting more expensive expensive, nobody can afford them anymore. If I want to buy a new car, I told you, like $30,000, $40,000. And then you hear about China, you spend 10, 15K on a new car. It's great, man.
Come work for BYD. We got you. Let's go.
I've heard that the work environment isn't the greatest in Chinese companies.
That's a stereotype. You talk about the sweatshops?
No. I'm not shitting on China here, but just the work mentality. Because I had a Chinese co-worker. He was from China and worked there for 15 years or something. And he said the way that people work in Germany is so different to China, because in Germany you have very loose structures. You can talk easily with everyone. There's no big pressure. Nobody's getting angry or whatever. It's very calm. And in China, he said people were ruder. There was more fixed structure and nobody could make decisions without asking their superior. There was a very... I'm missing the correct English term. Sorry, man. Please tell me about your experience.
No, yeah, I understand what you're saying. It's very like competitive as well. We just don't have as much breaks and we work longer hours and we kind of like competing with other colleagues. It's like a rat race. It's very frustrating.
Yeah, okay, that doesn't sound like an environment that I would thrive in, you know. For example, my uncle, for 30 years, he has been working 50, 60 hours a week.
That's intense.
And he had stress all over. He had heart attacks. The stress has been eating him up, and I don't want to do that to myself. How many hours do you work per week in China on average?
I would say like 50, 60 is like normal.
Damn, man, that's a lot. Like the companies I've worked in, I've worked for 35 hours.
Full-time work?
If we talk about full-time, it's usually 40 hours. But if you get into a nice company who has nice contracts with all the different unions, you can work 35 to 37 on a full-time job.
You guys are chilling for sure.
It works.
Yeah.
Life is more than just working, but I'm saying that from a very privileged point of view, right? Because I'm born in Germany. If I look, for example, at China, if I look at India, the amount of work that university students or even school students have to put in to even get into university are crazy, literally. And then you want to study something like mechanical engineering at a good university, bro, you're fucked. You have like 50 million people who are competing with you, and you have to get one of 200 spots. Yeah, okay, good luck, bro. Good luck. And for me to go to university, I could have gone to one of the best universities in Germany, but not because I'm so smart, not because I worked so hard, just because I did the bare minimum. I had a pretty chill life during my studies. I didn't have to do a test to get into university. I just said, hey bro, I have this grade in my final exam in school. Can I go to university at your place? And they say, yeah bro, come over. And that's it. So it's easier, no? That's why I said it's from a very privileged point of view that I say.
Yeah, I really hope like the situation is gonna get better. That really is the case for the kids nowadays. It's hard for them. Very good talking to you, man. It was fun.
It was very fun.